Number 14, Kell, Washington. And number 55, Maxwell Harris.
It's Kell at Wheeler right here in Wheeler Arena on SUVtv. Happy Friday, everyone, and hello. I'm Maury Blunt alongside Kelsey Rogers. And Kelsey, Kell is 12-4. Wheeler's 12-3. Let's kind of call this matchup somewhat of a crash course.
Certainly going to be a crash course, right? These two teams are competitors, and they're led by two phenomenal coaches. I wouldn't put legendary in front of it yet, but you certainly need to put respect in front of Coach Larry Thompson and Jermaine Sellers' name.
It's Wheeler here and Kell battling out here right here in Wheeler's Arena. The start of the first quarter, it is underway here. Thank you for joining us on SUVtv as Wheeler and Kell battling out right here. And Kell comes on the offensive unit to start the game, and it goes out of bounds by Henderson right there on the right corner. Kell back on the offensive end. Henderson now at the top of the key, getting a little tripped up, passes it down to Smith, and no good there. Hudson barely saves it. Intercepted by Johnson. And Colin tries to take the three attempt, and no good there. Coming up short, Kels.
And here's what you're going to see. We've already seen back and forth, back and forth. They're going to settle into this game. A couple turnovers on both ends, but both teams are going to settle in. But it is going to be a fast-paced game the entire night.
Harris and Oliver with a little connection there. Washington trying to throw it up nice for Hudson, and it's good for two, to start the first here.
And I tell you right now, nice high-low action there, but if they're going to man up with Jaheim Hudson, they're going to have to find some help side on that.
And Kell loses it there. Certainly going to be an exciting matchup. As you stated, Kelsey, both coaches have coached their guys up hard, and we know that Kell hasn't always been known for a rich basketball history. Since Coach Sellers has taken over, they definitely changed the dynamics of this program. And, you know, the significance of the game is Coach Sellers were on staff at one point with Coach Thompson and the Wheeler team there.
That's right. He was an assistant coach here at Wheeler under the legendary Doug Lipscomb. So he knows what this game means and what it means to be a Wildcat. He just happens to be on the other side. Don't think for 1 second he's going to take it lightly on them.
Both coaches has expressed how excited they are about this matchup, and both feel that this is going to come down to the wire, as it's definitely tight here now. First quarter, 6 minutes and 10 seconds so far left, and 2-0, and the Wildcats are up. But nevertheless, it's going to be a great showdown. This is a socially distanced basketball game somewhat. I know fans were directed to sit on the dots, and we see that they're kind of bunched up. Some have masks on and some doesn't. But, Kelsey, the big part, dealing with COVID-19, both coaches say they hadn't had any guys out because of COVID.
And that's phenomenal right here. You know, the goal was to get games played safely for these young men, right? And I think a lot of coaches have taken on a new role as the coaching staffs. It's not just about the X's and O's and player development. They've taken on the psychology hat. They've taken on the, COVID-19 hat. So kudos to these coaches in trying to keep these young men safe.
Kell dressed in all black and Wheeler dressed in all white there. As Smith lays it down for two for the Kell Longhorns. Defense is certainly being applied. Pressure to this offensive unit, and both teams, Kelsey, talked about their defensive play. That's very important, and Coach Thompson even went to say, if you cannot play defense, you cannot play for him.
That's a strong statement, but they're lucky he's on a wheel right there. Looks like he maybe has an Achilles or something, but he gets hyped up. He gets amped up. His expectation is perfection, and that's what he expects out of these guys, and they live up to that expectation most of the time, and when they don't, he calls a timeout and makes sure to remind them.
Certainly, Coach has been very successful at the helm. 140 wins and only 22 losses since taking over this team, the Wildcats. And Willer has produced a lot of big-time names, even in the NBA ranks, for sure. Willer back on the offensive end. Oliver trying to put it up, and he's good there for the second try.
Great job with Oliver staying with that play. Don't think we're going to see much boxing out. It's going to be first man to the ball.
Colin takes the shot from downtown, and it's no good there. Snagged down by Oliver on the defensive end. Henderson with a nice layup, and it's good for two with the chance to make the three-point play here.
So Scoot Henderson ranked 13th in the country in his 2022 class. He's a highlight reel. I mean, he can get to the basket. He can finish strong with contact like we just saw. The one place I want to see his game develop is his perimeter shooting. At the next level, he's going to have that.
That's exactly right, and certainly know that he is a big-time player, as you stated, Kelsey, but he definitely has to do that for sure to be able to survive during that next level.
Yeah, you know, one thing you look at with players like that, he's a slender physique. While he's strong at the next level, if you're just relying on getting to the basket, there's some big men in there. They're going to beat you up, and you can only take so much. At the high school level, man, that's like little flies. I'm just wipe them off, finish this and one play. At the next level, it will beat your body down through the course of your career.
And Kelsey here is no novice to this great game of basketball, as she is very modest and won't tell you that she was such a big-time player at Georgia State, and currently now the SWA Senior Woman Administrator there for the Panthers at Georgia State University. She's here with me tonight. Thank you so much, Kelsey. We're going to have fun for sure.
This is an exciting game, you know, and just looking around, like you said, the atmosphere, this is awesome. You know, when you can do this safely during a pandemic, this is great for these young men.
Henderson, the inbound man for Kell on the offensive end as he brings it across the timeline. 4 minutes here to go in the first quarter. Henderson on the right corner, pass it down to the post area with a nice sink for two. Willer trying to answer back fast. Washington takes his chances, and it rolls over the top and back into the hands of Kell there. As Harris passes it out to Johnson. No good there. Harris snags it down for Willer.
Great ball movement there by Kell. They've missed a couple of those open shots, but guaranteed those are going to fall.
And Strahan stepped out of bounds and is going to go back here to Willer on the offensive end. But Kelsey, so far it's the first quarter, 3 minutes and 31 seconds as we look at this here. What a nice fade out.
Jalen Harrison with a nice little step back fadeaway. I mean, Wheeler's long, so they're contested shots. I mean, that fadeaway shot might be his best shot of the night.
That's a great look at Coach Thompson there, who is in a scooter somewhat. He's injured for sure, and he told me, he said, Mari, we cannot allow these guys to think that I'm going to take it lightly because I'm on a scooter here. And he's definitely coaching those guys. As you see, the passion is pouring out in the way he coaches there, trying to get those guys coached up here. It's 8-4. But, Kelsey, more importantly, what have you seen so far here since the matchup started?
You know, I don't really think either team has settled in to their game. You know, we start off with a few turnovers on both sides. Scooter has gotten to the basket and has dished it off a few times, which I like seeing. He's normally taking those shots, so I like that he's getting his team involved. He can't do this all by himself if they're going to win the game. So building the confidence of his teammates, I think, is an A-plus move right now.
And Kell back on the offensive end, as previously Harris stepped out of bounds for Willer. And the Longhorns get it now as Colin brings it across center court and hands it off to Cambridge. Johnson trying to drive it down the paint, and no good, and certainly was able to get it from him as Willer was able to recover on the offensive end. And we have here now, it's just a lot of fast-paced offense, Kelsey, so far, going back and forth. As you stated, probably need to slow it down here.
Yeah, I don't think slowing down is going to be anywhere in this game no more. I can promise you that. You know, they're going to correct their mistakes fast. There's another steal by Scoot Henderson right there. And off to the races. He's taking it 3-on-1. I'm going to take you guys.
And Henderson sinks it in. Bingo. Wow, what a great shot from Henderson with a nice jumper there. 10-4 now. But let's look at it here again, Kelsey.
I mean, there you see 3-on-1 going against Shaheem, big guy in the post. Give me that. That's mine. He's putting his stamp on this game.
Certainly what we expected coming in for sure is as you stated, he's a top player in the country. And his IQ has continued to grow as the season has gone on, as Coach said. And Coach believes the thing that makes him very highly competitive is Henderson's very competitive.
Well, if you didn't get it from that last play going against Jaheim Hudson in the post, Jaheim is 6'7", right? Commit to Charleston Southern. If you didn't see how competitive he was on that, going 3 against 1, we're watching different games.
Harrison takes it from downtown and bingo for 3. Willer now on the offensive end. Harris now with the ball handling duties. Washington tried to take a little shot, no good there. And Cambridge gets back fast on the offensive unit for Kell for 2.
Great fast break right there. That's going to continue the entire game. You get the outlet, you go and you pitch it up the floor.
And he loses it there. Kell on the offensive end. That's a great look at Chester for Kell. Certainly a lot at stake for sure. We called it a crash course game in the beginning of the broadcast. Obviously, I believe you started to see why if you're watching the game or paying any attention at all. And certainly the score doesn't reflect it, 15-4.
One thing you can't do is count these Wheeler Wildcats out. With the leader, Larry Thompson, at the helm, head coach, these guys are going to play hard. There's another look inside. Jaheim Hudson, he's got to make that 3 attempts, man. Kell's got to do something about that, and Wheeler's got to keep going to the big man.
Hudson missed the attempts there on the offensive end for Wheeler. Johnson now the inbound man for Kell. Harris doing work on the offensive end, pitches it out to Colin, and it's off the rim and into the hands of Wheeler. Washington able to save it. Hudson puts it in.
Great save there by Caleb Washington.
Colin guarded by Burke. Johnson takes his chances. Collier brings it down on the offensive end for Willer, and it's no good there. And
that's an offensive foul there on Isaiah Collier.
Now, I know, Kelsey, I know you stated that you're an official as well, and you're going to be hard on the officiating crew, but I think you can definitely say that was a good call.
That's an easy one, you know, and Isaiah's got to do better. He's a sophomore. He's going to get better. He's also ranked 13 in his 2023 class, so he's a good kid to watch. He's a great player for Wheeler. Unfortunate situation. He's got to learn to get that pull-up jump shot.
Harris looks like he's in trouble. Passes it over to Brown. Brown back to Harris. Harris drives it to the hole. And we get a foul there.
So Jalen Harris really stepping up. We saw the fadeaway. We saw the three-point shot. Scoot Henderson on the bench right now, getting some rest. That's not normal for us to see Scoot Henderson on the bench, but Jalen Harris stepping up in a big way offensively.
Jalen Harris, number 21, senior, 6'3", guard at the free throw line. And coach said that, hey, when he gets going, he gets going.
Well, he certainly has started off well tonight.
Good for both of those free throw attempts as the big man Harris now brings it across the timeline for Willer. Guarded by Brown. Washington driving into the hole and passing over to Oliver, and it's good for 2. We're inside the 10-second mark in the first quarter. 17-10, Kell and Willer. And that's off. That concludes the first quarter. Wow, it seemed to go by fast, Kelsey. But before we go to break, let's look at this real quick. It's 17-10 here. Willer and Kell here in the second quarter, 8 minutes. Kelsey, if you're coaching the teams, what are you telling them right now here in this timeout break?
Well, I think if you're Kell, you've gotten off to a really good offensive start. Defensively and around the rim is really where you need to step up your game. Jaheim Hudson down on the low post, not rebounding as well, but offensively they're sticking with it. You know, on the flip side, if you're Wheeler and Coach Larry Thompson, there are certain players that need to step up. A.J. Burke, a senior, 6'1", he's an important piece to this offense. He has got to step up in a big way.
And just like that, 7-point game. We'll be right back on SUVtv.
I'm above average. This is Colin Sexton, Cleveland Cavaliers. Shout out Next Play for letting me come here and work out. Y'all see it. Y'all see where we at.
Welcome back to Willer Arena. It's Kell and Willer battling it out here to start of the second quarter. 17-10. Maury Bland here alongside Kelsey Regis calling the game here. And Kelsey has a tremendous amount of basketball experience herself, being a former player of Georgia State and now back at her alma mater as the senior woman administrator, And now she's calling the game with us tonight. Willer back on the offensive end. Harrison taking his shot for deep and no good there. Misfired.
A rare miss there by Maxwell Harris. He's another piece to this Wheeler team. Very underrated player that does a lot. Offensively, he can stroke it, so a very rare miss by him.
Substitutions number 3, Wildcats with 2 Longhorns.
And Hill checks in a game for Kell. And Hudson checks back in for Willer.
So Scoot Henderson still on the bench, Maury. This is the time for Wheeler really to take advantage offensively. I don't feel like they're taking advantage with him sitting on the bench right now.
Colin on the offensive end for Kell. Johnson trying to get the look he's looking for, and he throws it out of bounds, and it's going back to Willer here. Kell now on the defensive end. Burt off to Burns. Washington taking a shot, no good. Burt from deep, and it's good.
Big time shot. Jaheim was able to get his fingers on a lob pass in there that could easily have been a turnover.
As you stated earlier, it looked kind of lopsided, but Kelsey, you told us don't count this Willer team out. 19-15 here in the second quarter, in the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah, and here you're going to see the replay. There you see Jaheim getting a little fingertip, knowing he's got A.J. Burke in the corner. those extra efforts are going to make a difference in this game. These are two excellent programs, so the finest amount of detail and execution is going to win this game.
And A.J. Burke has been described as a big-time shooter. Very consistent in his shooting.
They're going to get an offensive foul here on Kyle Burns. And I'll say this about Najee Colin from Kell. He is probably the best defender in the state. They say he's 5'11". I think he's about 5'7", but who's to say, right? Who's to question that? Defensively, though, I have seen Najee Colin disrupt offenses night after night.
Najee Colin, as we stated, is a big-time player for Kell. And Brown is good there, over the top. Kell is continuing to apply pressure. As Cambridge snags it down. Brown, over the top, good for two.
Jaylen Brown using those footsteps, signed a scholarship to play football at Robert Morris, so using the agility to get to the basket.
Certainly thought that would be a travel call there. And certainly it is. And it goes back to Kell here. But for sure, Kelsey, we can definitely feel and see the passion. So much at stake here.
I mean, this is bragging rights, right? They're both in Marietta, Georgia here. These two teams, they love each other like brothers, but they also hate each other like brothers.
Colin now for Kell, bringing it across center court. Harris driving his way to the hole.
Once again, Jalen Harris making things happen offensively for this Kell team.
Most people would have described Jalen Harris as somewhat underrated, but coach believes that he's starting to play out of that type of description.
Well, I would hope so, because he's a senior, right? So at some point, you either plateau or, you know, by your senior year, you start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and really start giving your team consistent effort.
Burke with the shot for three. Bingo, it's good.
A.J. Burke going to get called with a technical. A little too much talking bow and arrow after that shot.
Let's take a look at it here.
Little bow and arrow shot. They're going back up the court. Hey, you just can't have that in the game. I like the excitement, and I'll be honest, that was me as a player. But if the official sees you, they're going to give you a technical foul.
And so Harris now is elected to take those shots for Kell.
And I'll say this. That technical foul hurts your team. You know, they need A.J. Burke on the floor. So that goes down as a personal foul. I mean, we've seen Scooter's been on the bench with his 2 personal fouls, so you got to be a little bit smarter than that.
Certainly with a game as big as this one here for sure. As you stated, both teams are playing for bragging rights in the matchup tonight. Brown for Kell. Passes it over to Johnson. Cambridge gets called for the travel.
Najee Colin going to put pressure 94 feet, make Wheeler work for it.
I know we talked that coach said that, hey, he said, listen, we have to play defense. Have we seen that so far from this Wheeler crew?
You know, I don't think we've seen that, to be honest with you. Kell is really getting their way offensively. They're pushing in transition. They're dribble penetrating the gaps. And so, no, I don't think that Wheeler has shown us the stellar defense that Coach Larry Thompson wants them to play.
(25-18) here in the second quarter. 3 minutes here to go before half. Cambridge provides a screen. Brown tried to get it down in the hole, and he gets called.
So both teams sitting back in a zone, Marian. Tell you what, it sucks some of the energy out in this arena. You know, these fans, we got some high-level players in this game that can get above the rim, and they're, you know, kudos to the coaches, but it's not what the fans want to see, right? They're packing in the paint on both sides, so nobody is able to get those monster dunks right now.
That's exactly right. Certainly has quieted down somewhat so far since we've started. As Brown got the rebound, and Cambridge finishes it for Kell.
And here's what I like about that. Now, the ball did not hit the floor one time. You know, and most of these teams have drills that they practice that fast break on. I like to see that. You get the ball up faster.
Oliver trying to put it up. Washington with a nice soft touch over the top, and it's good there for two.
You see a 1-2-2 zone defense.
And that's exactly what Wheeler wanted.
So Dylan Cambridge, now the last two plays down the floor has been called for offensive fouls. He's an energy guy for Kell. So right now he's sucking a little bit of that energy out right now.
And that's what Coach said. Hey, he brings a ton of energy to this Kell offensive team. And Kelsey, he's coming back from an ankle injury. It doesn't seem like it from the way he's played, but for sure he's definitely full of energy, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going to the basket like he is and leaving the floor, you know, there's no hesitancy right now from him. But on the flip side, that's Isaiah Collier getting called for another offensive foul. So that's his second. And Coach Larry Thompson is going to keep him in the game with 2:07 left.
Kell here now on the offensive end as Hill fell down to the ground as he released it. I'm sorry, Harris. Somewhat kind of hard to see the numbers in front of this Kell squad. Smaller in the front, big in the back. Washington bringing it across for Wheeler. Burt now in the right corner. Harris gets it down to Oliver. Bingo.
Oliver is going to give you quiet numbers, right? He's going to give you 10 to 14 points. He's going to give you 6 to 8 rebounds, but it's all going to be done pretty quietly.
It's interesting seeing Harris for Wheeler do some ball handling, you know, duties, and he's standing outside the arc. Not really what I expected to see from a big guy, but he's doing it and doing it fairly well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But you know what? These coaches, and I commend the coaches, and even on the AAU circuit, right? Like, they are understanding that if these kids are going to play at the next level, they've got to have the skill set. I don't care if you're 6'7" or 5'11". You've got to have the skill set of a ball handler, a shooter, be able to get to the basket. So they're allowing them to play multiple positions and teaching multiple assets to their game.
As Hudson checks in now for Wheeler. Burt will be the inbound man. Gamery will give everyone their offensive responsibilities.
Kell going to a man-to-man right now. That's not a good matchup there for Jalen Harris.
Out to Burt from deep, and he got it!
And that happens, Mari, because Jaheim Hudson requires attention. Jalen Harris cannot guard Jaheim Hudson by himself. So his teammates are coming in to help, which leaves A.J. Burke wide open.
Burt is a big-time shooter, we know, for Wheeler. And Harris with a nice sink over the top.
Hey, he tells coach, if I can't get it done on the defense side, I'll show you I'll get some points on the offensive side. Jalen Harris has been stellar offensively.
Inside the 40-second mark here in the second quarter, there's another travel call. Kelsey, I think that's the third one of the broadcast.
Yeah, you don't really see that call made a ton on the men's side, at least at the high school level, but I think it's a decent call. Max Harris got an advantage off of it, so it's the right call.
Brown with a nice step inside. Good for two. You know, Kelsey, I've been very impressed by you. I know you haven't been very hard on the officials, but I think this is a pretty good crew for sure.
These are some of my colleagues, and I will say the assigner knew what they were doing when they put this crew together.
Gamery saves it, and he makes an impact fast in the game. That's his first 2 points of the game so far. And that concludes the second quarter, 31-27. As Gamery with a nice jumper. Right here in Wheeler Arena. Mari Bland, Kelsey, what are you telling your teams in half?
Well, even though Kell's up by 4, defensively, they have not had a good game, right? And so their defense dictates their offense fast break transition. And a large part starts with Scooter Henderson, right, who's had to sit out the majority of the first half. So defensively, they're going to have to step up. And I guarantee Larry Thompson is giving them a mouthful right now, both offensively and discipline. Discipline is probably the name of the game right now for Wheeler Wildcats.
Mari Bland here. Kelsey will be right back. Stay tuned on SUVtv.
I'm above average. This Collins Sexton, including Cavaliers. Shout out Next Play for letting me come here and work out. Y'all see it. Y'all see where we at.
Brown with SUVtv at the CP3 Rising Stars Camp.
SUVtv's 2019 NBA Draft Day coverage.
Anthony Edwards Collegiate Decision, presented by the Georgia Hoop Circle on SUVtv.
SUVtv brings the game to the audience.
You give a better focus on the actual game at hand. Sometimes you could tell it's just a running camera by itself sitting there. But with SUVtv, it's more of a personal experience.
Just the exposure, being able to see games that you normally wouldn't be able to see, not only here locally, but across the country.
Those angles make you pick up different things as a coach, as an evaluator. They're giving you great quality, nobody talking in the background. I think it brings basketball to the forefront.
Whether it's a family member that was in a different state, they can watch the game, or just bringing in more coverage for these players, or if it just allows us to raise more money for something like Susan G. Komen. And so I think this event has grown because you guys have been a part of it the whole entire time.
SUVtv has given a different light to kids that don't always get the best exposure.
The commentary that goes along with the games, I think is always interesting.
Touchdown.
Oh, yes, sir. It brings something to the table that no other streaming aspect can bring, no matter how hard they try right now.
Game time, Avian Williamson at the buzzer. That is how you get the Peachtree Corners Invitational started. And that will do it. Thanks for joining.
Welcome back to Willer Arena. It's Willer and Kell here battling out to start the second half. 31-27. Mari Bland here, Kelsey Regis. And Kelsey, you mentioned one word for Willer, and that's discipline.
Yeah, you know, that's what Coach Larry Thompson builds this program off of. And so I'm sure they got an earful at halftime there, but lack of discipline, right? We've seen several turnovers off of travels. We've seen several turnovers off of offensive fouls. So unforced turnovers has led to Kell being up by 4.
And Kell has to get that support staff going.
You're absolutely right. Scooter Henderson sat out most of that first half, right? So we saw that Jalen Harris stepped up in a big way. We saw Najee Colin stepping up in a big way. There was other people, Jalen Brown, right? They stepped up when Scooter Henderson was on the bench, and that's the nucleus they need around him.
And that's Harris coming out of break from a halftime with a nice deep shot. Good for 3. Harris almost loses it there. Colin gets it. And Henderson off the back rim. Willer trying to throw it down and definitely wanted a call as Collier shows his level of disappointment.
And that's a good late call. Here you take a look. Isaiah Collier going to the basket. Scooter Henderson gets up there, but they're going to call basket interference. I don't know in the replay if I agree with what I just said. I don't know, man. That's why they get paid the big bucks out there, right? We're never wrong from up here.
That's exactly right. As certainly Kelsey comes onto the game with officiating experience as well. So she definitely knows the game. Was a big-time player at Georgia State.
Jalen Harris stepping up big time right now. And again, we talked about his development over the 4 years. He's a senior. That's what Coach Sellers wants to see out of him.
And Willer back on the offensive end. So we take a look at this shot by Harris.
Penetrate and kick. Harris is on fire right now.
And when you look at Willer, you know, we talked a little bit about Harris, Maxwell Harris for Willer, number 55, having 23 points last game, and we haven't seen that yet.
No, you know, and we've seen a couple turnovers by him, right? Maxwell Harris, an underrated player, usually gives this team a lot more than he has. Here he is with the ball at the top of the key now.
Bird passes it down to Washington. Bullseye.
Caleb Washington committed to Dayton. Great turnaround jump shot. He has great length.
Harris on the baseline. Almost loses it. Out to Colin with a nice deep shot. Good for 3. 40-33 here in the third quarter. Harris trying to get back fast on the offensive end. Able to do so as he uses the backboard. And it's good.
And I can tell you one thing. We might be in Wheeler's gym, but they're both here in Marietta, and Kell brings a nice-sized crowd. So you don't want to get this crowd going, and that's a great job by Max Harris to settle this crowd down.
Willer back on the offensive end. And wow, what a nice shot. Blowing the top off of it by Hudson, the big man.
He take a replay here. Isaiah to Jaheim Hudson. You're not going to get showtime out of Hudson, right? But hey, 2 points is 2 points.
This is the first timeout of the second half. It's 40-37. Mari Bland here, Kelsey on SUVtv. Thank you for joining us, and happy Friday to you. But Kelsey, what do you think now?
Well, you know, tempo and momentum are 2 big things in the game, right? And it seems like, although Kell has come out and hit a couple threes, it seems like the tempo and the momentum and the energy is falling within the Wheeler hands right now.
Certainly looked a little lopsided starting out the game, and as you said, Kelsey, don't count this Wheeler team out too fast, as we're now 40-37 as we speak in the third quarter. Henderson back on the floor for Kell. Harris takes the shot anyway, and it's off. Henderson gets the turnover and blows the top off.
And Scoot Henderson knows that 2 points was the most important thing right there, but a little bit of energy and excitement from the fans also is needed with this team. So a nice, easy, powerful two-handed dunk.
Henderson has been described as very, very competitive, and that's what makes him the special player that he is, and his IQ has continued to grow as the season has gone on. 6'3". Nice crowd out here tonight. Everyone is somewhat socially distanced in their own opinion, somewhat. A lot at stake here as this is bragging rights between Kell and Willer. Willer takes the shot from deep, and it's good as Washington, that's his first three of the game.
Caleb Washington, again, this Wheeler team has really come out with more energy than we saw in that first half. And I tell you what, whichever team can keep this longest momentum and run going and get this crowd involved, you don't want the crowd to be involved as a sixth man right now.
And Washington pulls it off the backboard, and he brings it down for Willer. Harris trying to take the shot from the left corner. And looks like Harris here will go to the line.
Aaron Smith is going to be called for that foul there. There you see the replay from Scoot Henderson. And Maxwell Harris, here's what I like about this kid, right? He knows he hasn't had the best game, right? High percentage shots. Where does he go coming out for the second half? Straight to the basket. High percentage shots, get your confidence back up, and then do what you do the rest of the game.
Maxwell Harris coming in the second half, doing more than he did in the first half for sure. And believe it or not, Kelsey, the big man leads the team in scoring.
I'm telling you, he's very underrated, yet he continues to produce. This has not been a great show for him tonight, but this game is far from over.
Henderson gets it over to Harris, and it's blocked by Hudson.
Both Kell players there, Jalen Harris and Dylan Cambridge, run into each other. Love the effort going after that ball as Jaheim Hudson got a finger on that three-point shot. But the ball's going to go back to Wheeler.
Washington and Hudson, the combo, bringing it across the timeline for us. Washington gets it over to Burt after Hudson provided the screen. Hudson in the post, intercepted by Brown. Cambridge gets it, and a chance here to make a three-point play, as we've seen the charge called against him offensively, but now he able to capitalize there.
There you see the replay, and I can appreciate young players who can correct their mistakes so quickly, right? You don't see that often where they'll continue to do the same thing, and then they'll look at it on film and be like, well, damn, why didn't I do that, right? So I appreciate that by Dylan Cambridge. He recognized Wheeler standing there ready to take the charge and adjusted his play.
Cambridge unable to finish with the three-point play after getting the foul. Coming back from an ankle injury as Washington is off. Willer and Kell here, 44-43. 2 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the third quarter. Colin now on the offensive end for Kell. Brown takes the shot. Colin gets it back. Collier gets it out of there. Cambridge gets it for Kell. Spins out of control.
And Cambridge gonna be called with a foul there. So I like the effort, I like the energy, but once you realize it's 1-on-4, you gotta settle down a little bit. Bring that thing back out. Let your players get in the right places.
And that's a great look at Dylan Cambridge returning after missing a few games because of an ankle injury, and brings a ton of energy to this ball club. As we get a call here.
Back to 0 Longhorns. Substitution number 21 Longhorns.
Jalen Harris for Kell going to sub back in. We've seen the offensive performance that he has had tonight, while Scoot Henderson sat out the majority of the first half.
Willer, Gamery, in somewhat of trouble. Burns, no good there.
Well, I can tell you, Cambridge is not a ball handler. And Coach Sellers knows that and bails him out with a timeout.
And Coach Sellers takes a timeout as Coach Sellers enters his 9th season. About 200 wins and certainly has taken his fair share of losses, but it's 44-43, 1 minute, 58 seconds. As you stated, Cambridge is unable to handle the ball. Sellers calls a timeout, and we see Coach getting after those guys. What do you think he's telling them?
Hey, well, not only did he get after Cambridge for recklessly dribbling the ball and having Coach burn a timeout, he also got on Najee Colin like, where are you at? You're my point guard. Go get the ball.
And that's 4 timeouts left for Kell in the second half. Kell back on the offensive end. Colin gets it over to Johnson, and it's off the front rim and into the hands of Collier.
That's just a dangerous pass right there by Caleb Washington, throwing the ball so close up the sideline to Kyle Burns. That's a turnover waiting to happen right there, where P.J. Johnson was standing right next to him.
Henderson takes a shot. Gamery with the layup, no good. Harris brings it back. Colin slows things down for this Kell's ball squad.
And I was just going to say, Scoot Henderson has got to find a way to get to the basket, right? He has been off offensively. He sat out a majority of the first half. So go back to where your bread and butter is. He's taken 2 outside shots, one immediately coming out from halftime after sitting out for, you put number on it. So he's got to get to the basket, build his confidence back up.
And Scoot Henderson is for sure capable to do so as he gets the free throw there. And you can see the disappointment. He knows he's not performing the way he wants to.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We talked about it. He's a competitor, right? He wants to do what's best for his team. And, while his team is up by 2, it hasn't been his best performance. And he knows he's got to be consistent for this team.
Washington from the left corner.
Dylan Cambridge going to be called for that foul. That's an easy call there for the official. Undercuts Kedrick Oliver on the rebound.
First foul number 30 Longhorns. Substitution number 55.
And Harris checks back in for Willer.
Substitution number 12 Longhorns.
And Brown checks in for Kell. .53 seconds here in the third quarter. Henderson was able to poke it. He brings it down and lays it up for a nice layup there for 2. Henderson is for sure activating. Gamery leading the way. Washington outside the post. And it's good. Brown comes up short as Hudson gets it. Maxwell Harris brings it down with a nice 2 and ties it up here to conclude the third quarter. 47 tied up as a knot as we somewhat get ready to go here in the fourth quarter. What a great shot by Maxwell Harris.
That's right, taking it strong to the basket, finishing with a little bit of contact, but that starts with Jaheim Hudson. Again, this Wheeler Wildcats team starts and runs through Jaheim Hudson, right, in every way. He is a defensive disruptor, and that fast break doesn't start unless Jaheim Hudson blocks that shot.
Wheeler is one of the most well-known basketball programs, one of the most active, winningest programs in all of Georgia. As I believe, Kelsey, this is the biggest game in the state going on right here at Wheeler Arena.
Well, if people don't think that, these young men, coaches and fans and everybody in this gym certainly do. This is a who's of Marietta, Georgia. Kind of put your stamp on this area.
And we're inside the final countdown as we start the fourth quarter here, tied up 47 to start the fourth quarter. Certainly looked a little lopsided early in the broadcast as Wheeler was somewhat behind, but as you stated, we continue to talk about don't count Wheeler out, and certainly they have proven that for sure. 47 here, start the fourth quarter. Kelsey, to finish it, what does Wheeler have to do?
Well, you know, I think they've got a good run and momentum. I think it's more about the momentum right now than anything else, right? And so keeping that momentum and keeping that energy is going to be key for them. They thrive off of that. And a good job right there by Caleb Washington on the inside.
Wheeler and Kell here. Scooch Henderson, the inbound man for Kell, as Colin brings it across the timeline now. Henderson on the left corner. Gets it over to Colin, and he sinks it for 3. Coming out of the
Colin, man, in the corner, big three-point shot. But you saw Scoot Henderson attracted 4 Wheeler defenders to make that pass cross-court to the corner. He requires that attention.
Kelsey, fantastic breakdown there as Wheeler's now on the offensive end. Collier and Oliver comes up short. But let's look at this 3 here.
Yeah, I mean, you saw 4 Wheeler heads all looking right at Scoot Henderson. So that's another dynamic to his game. The attention he brings. He doesn't always have to be the scorer, but he draws that attention, which opens up other players on his team.
Washington takes in the jumper. Wheeler applying a little pressure. Trying to take the 3 as Collier batted it down. Gamery now, and this is a kid, Gamery is, coming off the bench and has had a lot of minutes here in the second half.
Yeah, you're right. You know, he's come off the bench, and Wheeler is looking for a spark anywhere they can. And when they came out from halftime, you know, it just seemed like all of them had a different level of energy coming out.
Hudson and Harris connects. Harris under the hole, and it's easy. Colin gets it over to Smith. And we get a call there at the baseline.
Personal foul, 12, Wheeler.
Gamery going to be called for that foul. And I think it's a little bit of a bailout right there. Refs helped him out. He's going to get called for a quick second run. So while we just talked about his energy and what he has brought coming out at halftime, he picks up 2 quick personal fouls.
Just that fast. Henderson now on the top of the key. Colin gets it over to Brown. Brown gets it on rebound.
Caleb Washington with a big block. And then Isaiah Collier dribbles it out on the back of Washington's foot. Sometimes you get in too much of a hurry there. Before you can clear your offensive and defensive players and put the ball on the floor, you got to clear everybody out to give you that space to work.
Washington caused all kinds of problems, and the Dayton commit will be going to Ohio to play basketball. One of the basketball premium programs there. Collier brings it across. Harris at the baseline. Gets it over to Hudson.
And just like that, the Wildcats take a 3-point lead.
Smith gets the rebound, tries to. Washington try to hang on to it for Willer. And we're seeing a lot of players bending over at the knee.
It's that holiday lull, right? They haven't been doing anything for a couple days. There you see the replay by Max Harris down to Jaheim Hudson. Once again, Jaheim Hudson in there, distributing it to Max Harris. So again, you're seeing multiple touches. The offense is running through Jaheim Hudson. He also requires a lot of attention.
It's Kell and Willer right here in Willer Arena. 53-50, the fourth quarter, 4 minutes and 53 seconds on SUVtv. Thank you for joining us. Maury Bland here alongside Kelsey Ridges. And Kelsey is a big-time baller herself, playing her career at Georgia State University. Back over there now as the senior woman administrator. Calling a game here with me now. Has an array of experience in basketball. She won't brag on herself, I will.
You know, I would say I'm a little bit of a gym rat.
Harris, unable to get it. Henderson brings it down fast, hands it off to Johnson.
Good foul by Hudson. You know, if you're going to foul, I always say, make sure they don't make the shot. Hudson comes down real hard. But you saw Scoot Henderson try to come in there and one-hand windmill that thing.
Fast, for sure.
And that's not good for Kell. Jalen Harris being substituted out and limping over to the sideline. We've talked about his productivity offensively for this Kell team, who is now down by 3 points, down by 2 points now. So that's not a good sign for Kell.
And Aaron Smith stands at the line. Very inexperienced, Coach Seller tells us. But he's been able to come out on the court and hold it down for his ball club. Washington had to get rid of it. Off to Collier. And that is a nice putback by Washington.
Caleb Washington has such an athletic build.
Colin with the three, BEA beautiful.
And just like that, we're back at a tie ball game with 3:54 left to go in this game. The least amount of mistakes down the stretch here, Maury, is going to win this game. Discipline.
As you stated, coming out of half as Harris gets the nice two from the left corner. Back on the defensive end, and it goes back to Willer here.
There you see the replay. None other than Jaheim Hudson with the ball, being a distributor. He likes to find Max Harris. Max Harris normally doing the little things, finishing strong, just like he did there.
Gamery brings it across center court for Willer. Gamery now on the left corner. Henderson poked it out. And Henderson showing a little emotion over there. He definitely didn't approve of that.
No, you know, when you're passionate about what you do, you put a lot of effort, a lot of sweat equity into the development of yourself, you know, so you get passionate about some calls. You got to be able to temper those emotions, though, in a game like this.
And Henderson getting a little pressure applied from Willer.
So Caleb Washington going to be called for that foul. Scoot Henderson triple teamed in that instance. That is only the first team foul, though, of this quarter.
Collier brings it across for Willer and loses it. Cambridge gets it back and try to get it over to Chester, and we get a travel call here. 55-57. Fans are on the edge of their seats. We believe this is going to come down to the wire.
I certainly think it is, and I keep saying from the beginning of the broadcast, these teams are so close competitively that minor details matter, right? And so down the stretch, who can these coaches rely on to stay steady emotionally, to control the basketball? We just saw a couple turnovers on both sides here. The energy is rising back in the gym again, so both teams just need to settle in and play like they have the majority of this game.
Kendrick Oliver goes to the line. And he often connects with Collier for grand slams. Very strong and athletic. Full of energy. And he gets both of those shots. And we've got ourselves a timeout here. Kelsey, 55-58. 2 minutes, 41 seconds. You got to give these guys a break. Full timeout here. But in this full timeout, what are you telling them this tight, this late here in the game?
Yeah, well, I think this is just a mental and physical regroup, right? Coach Larry Thompson called the full timeout. We saw a little bit of helter-skelter as the intensity rose in this arena. And so this is more physical, but also very mental. Hey, guys, stay in control. Take what we practice and apply it to the game. This is no different than practice, right? And so don't get those jitters. Don't try to go too fast. Don't try to do too much. Do what we practice every day, and the best team's going to win.
As you see Washington there on the way replay. Kell and Willer. Great atmosphere so far. People are all over the place on the top deck. Socially distanced somewhat. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Coming out of the timeout break. Kell now has it on the offensive end. And we're in the last stretch of this game. And Henderson, out of the timeout break, gets called for travel, and he looks surprised.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, he absolutely traveled. Did he gain an advantage by it? No, but he did travel.
Hudson, the big man, stands on the top. Gets it over to Collier. Washington. And Hudson there underneath the rim.
Dylan Cambridge going to be called for that foul, and that is going to be Dylan Cambridge's 5th foul.
Substitution number 24, Longhorns.
And now, Jaheim Hudson goes to the line. He eats up a lot of space. Coach said he must score under the rim.
He's done that. What else? He's distributed the ball. He's done that.
Often known for monster dunks, we haven't seen
We
that.
haven't seen that one yet. But you know, like we said, it has been compacted in the paint on both ends.
Hudson is feeling red hot as the momentum slowly starting to shift, and it's only maybe because of Henderson.
Well, and here's what I'll say about this timeout, that I don't like it too much, right? Because this game is about who can sustain the longest run and momentum. Scoot Henderson gets to the basket. We know he's had some trouble getting that momentum today. So when you make that big-time layup and you have the crowd behind you, let him play that out on the other end and see if you can get a defensive stop and another transition easy points.
As we stated, it's so much on the line as far as bragging rights goes. Both teams are right here in Marietta. You called it a who's contest for sure.
100%.
57-58. Bringing it home in the fourth quarter. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. What do you want to see?
You know, just steadiness, to be honest with you. I don't want to see any player get rattled. These are big-time players. They've been in big-time situations, and this is no different. So, you know, I just want to see them both play this game out the way they've played this game thus far.
Both programs are very, very, very well known in the basketball sport. Two great powerhouses, coached by two really good coaches. Larry Thompson leads Willer, and Jermaine Sellers leads Kell. And it's good for three!
Jalen Harris knocks down a big three and is hobbling back on the other end of the floor. If that doesn't show you competitiveness, and a quick steal by Colin to Scoot Henderson.
Henderson can't get it. Willer gets it. Harris trying to do something with it. Didn't see a monster throwdown like we thought, but after taking a hard fall, he'll go to the line.
Yeah, you know, that's the energy and excitement that you need, right? There you see Max Harris get to the basket. Colin undercutting him. I'll be honest, it doesn't even look like he made a play on that ball, Maury. I don't think an intentional foul is what we need in this game, but he sure did not go for that ball.
Kelsey, I feel like you're about to jump out of your seat. Cool off, I'll get you some water. You want to play here. Definitely feel the energy for sure. Tied up right now at 60. Both teams are top 10 teams in the state. Fans are getting behind him. Can he make it? And he does. Right here in Willer's Arena. They certainly have something to prove as they want to draw the line and says, hey, this is our territory.
Yeah, and you know, let me just brag on Max Harris for a second. I like this kid, okay, for a couple of reasons. He's underrated. People underestimate him night in and night out. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves with the numbers that he puts up. And most importantly, Maury, he is unfazed. Now, some people might say, hey, he doesn't get too high, but on the flip side, I'm going to say he doesn't get rattled at all. On a tumultuous start to this game, he has come back and made some big-time plays.
It's Willer and Kell. 61-60. Fourth quarter. Maury Bland here. Kelsey Regis on the SUVtv. Thank you so much for joining us. Certainly hope you've enjoyed the matchup as we certainly have. Kelsey is about to come out of her seat, to say the least. Henderson back on the offensive end. He'll take the nice jumper. No good. Collier gets called for a travel, and he stands and tries to plead his case. but it wasn't enough to change his mind.
And you know, Larry Thompson isn't really disagreeing with that whatsoever. But again, it goes back to get the ball, let everybody clear out.
Henderson and Colin doing work. He gets it downtown, no good. Hudson snags it. Collier brings it. And Oliver trying to finish it. And he'll go to the line.
You know, this is what I like about these two teams, right? You have 53.9 seconds left. And guess what? They're still going full steam. They're not pulling it back out and saying, hey, let's wait for the last shot. Hey, let's get fouled and win this at the free throw line. They're playing their type of basketball, which is fast and up-tempo.
Oliver going here to the line, the second time of this second half. Kendrick Oliver, the senior, stands about 6'4" tall. And it's off the rim.
And that's a big time miss right there by senior Kendrick Oliver.
Can he make the second one? And he makes it, ties it up. No, I'm sorry. 62-60. Inside the 1 minute mark here. Henderson on the top of the key, trying to do work here. 45 seconds now. The final countdown. Kell Willer here in Willer Arena. Henderson takes the jumper, no good. Hudson snags it down. Oliver brings it over.
Offensive foul, Kendrick Oliver, pass and crash.
Unbelievable. Offensive foul called against Willer. 60-62, 28.6 seconds exact, Kelsey. You got to be thinking something, drawing something up in the dirt.
Well, I can tell you this, Jaheim Hudson has brought down 2 killer rebounds. You've got to give yourself a second shot opportunity for a tip-in. You can't wait for the expiration to get your first shot up.
Fans are on their feet. Henderson trying to drive it to the hole. And the official said it's no good there.
And they're in bonus, so Scoot Henderson is going to go to the free throw line. He's going to get his 1-and-1 shots, a chance to tie up the ball game.
Henderson goes to the line. One of the best in the country at his position. He's #1 in the state. Highly competitive. Coach said his IQ has grown and unable to make it. The shot.
And Max Harris is going to be called for an over-the-back displacement call. So Kell is going to go back to the free throw line.
Jalen Harris takes a hard fall. Slow to get up here, Kelsey.
And, you know, he came out earlier. He was limping. We said that that could be a concern for Kell. He came back in the game, hit a big three-point shot, but limped all the way back down the floor. I mean, if he isn't laying it all out on the line right here in a non-region game, this shows you they share the same community. This is bragging rights. He's coming out on this floor, limping up the floor for his team.
Both teams are strong programs in the state of Georgia. As you see, Jalen Harris slowly walking his way off the court. P.J. Johnson for Kell stands at the line. 62-60. Unable to get it. It's a 2-point game. 10-second mark. Time is winding out. That's a hard foul call as Collier tried to get back fast on the offensive end for Willer. 7.7 seconds here. It's only a 2-point game, Kelsey.
It is. These are big shots right now for Isaiah Collier. But I'll tell you what's even bigger is missing the front end of 1-and-1 situations twice for Kell. They had an opportunity to go up by 2, and they are still down by 2.
Collier at the line. Off the rim and back into his hands. Unable to get the first attempt. 60-62. And there's a timeout by Kell. 30-second timeout. Let's keep it here. 7.7 seconds. 60-62, Kelsey. Man, either you're breathing hard, your heart's racing, your palms are sweating. This is going to be tight.
It is, and if I'm Coach Sellers right now, I'm reminding my guys, if the ball goes in and we're down by 3, we have got to get a three-point shot attempt up. If they miss the free throws and we stay at -2, get to the basket, get the best shot we can. If that means Scoot Henderson going all the way to the basket, or if that means a dribble penetration and pitch to the corners. We've seen big three-point shots from Najee Colin in the corners. And there you see Jalen Harris is about to sub back in. Put him in the corner.
If you're not from the Marietta, Georgia area, this happens to be a big game. As Kelsey constantly describes it as a who's who contest for bragging rights, but certainly mean a lot more to the players as they've grown up together, played AAU basketball together, that kind of thing. Both teams obviously want to win. I mean, you play to win the game, as Herm Edwards said.
That's right. That's right. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You want to win the game.
7.7 seconds in the fourth quarter. 62-60. Willer leads by 2. With a free throw attempt in the back pocket. Fans are standing on their feet. Misses it. It's a 2-point game. Henderson, will he answer? He drives it to the hole. And Henderson now goes back to the line.
Redemption.
Wow.
Redemption.
Let's take a look. 60-62.
Scoot Henderson. Ooh. I don't know.
Henderson lives for moments like these. And he gets the first shot with the chance to tie it. 62-61. Henderson is one shot away from tying this up with 2.6 seconds left. A lot to play for here. And he gets the second one. He ties it up. Tied as a knot. 62-62. 2.6 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Maury Bland here, Kelsey Regis. We have a game here, Kelsey.
Yeah, we certainly do, but we knew this from the top of the broadcast, right? I think everybody in this arena knew the same thing that we knew. This was going to be a battle to the absolute end, and in 2.6 seconds, unless Coach Larry Thompson has a back pocket trick, which I'm sure he does, these fans might be in the treat for an overtime game.
It's Willer and Kell here. As Coach Sellers, Jermaine leads the Kell ball squad for the 9th season here. Been very successful. And Willer, led by Larry Thompson, who's been there 4 years. He has 140 wins and only 22 losses. But even deeper than that, Kelsey, this Willer team has an array of alumni. The Raheem brothers, Jaylen Brown, drafted in 2016, first round. J.J. Hickson. This Willer ball squad is definitely known in the sport of basketball, to say the least. Back to it. 62-62. Inside the 1 second mark. Time runs out. That ends regulation. It's Keller and Willer. Kell and Willer. I got stuck, Kelsey. Kelsey, you're official. Tell us about the fifth quarter rules here, overtime.
Yeah, everything carries over. Each team's going to get one more full timeout, but personal fouls carry over, so we're in the bonus both ways. And so all of the things will roll over that we've seen, including Jalen Harris in his limp leg right now. That's going to be a key factor, I think, for this Kell team.
If you can't feel the energy, You may want to check your pulse. That concludes regulation. It's tied 62 here to start the fifth quarter action. As Kelsey stated, all rules carry over. No surprises there. But definitely it's been a great showdown here on Friday night. What a great way to spend your Friday night. Socially distanced basketball game. People are standing on the rails. Students are fired up here to our left. And the officials stand at the center court talking to both coaches.
So the new rule here for GHSA due to COVID policies is that if the game goes into overtime, the overtime will be decided by a coin flip. So it will be Wheeler's ball to start the overtime period.
And Coach Thompson, I'll be honest with you, Kelsey, he told me, Maury, this is going to come down to the wire. Now, Coach Sellers said, I hope not. Certainly hadn't gotten what he wanted.
Well,
sure.
you know, and I'll tell you why I personally think those comments were made. Coach Larry Thompson and his Wheeler team has a lot of depth, right? We've seen multiple players be able to come in and step up, where on the flip side, Kell does not. They are about a 7-person roster deep, and after that, it drops off drastically. So, you know, just from a winded standpoint, the legs we talked about, you saw players bent over. That's certainly going to be a key factor to watch in these next 4 minutes.
The fifth quarter action is underway. 62. Wheeler comes out and answer backs fast. As Henderson has it now for Kell on the offensive end. Standing on the right corner, he'll take the jumper from the right side, and it's no good there as Hudson wiped it off the backboard. Maxwell Harris doing work. Washington finishes it. 66-62. Colin gives it to Henderson. And we've got a call on the floor.
Isaiah Collier is going to be called for that reach-in foul. Scoot Henderson is going to go back to the free throw line for 2 shots. It is double bonus right now. So we saw what we saw transpire towards the end of regulation was Scoot Henderson going to the line for a 1-on-1 situation that could have tied the ball game. Misses the front end, gets a second chance opportunity, redemption, ties the ball game up with 2.6, and now is at the line again to make some big, big free throws.
It's easy to say, Kelsey, Henderson got his mojo back.
100%. Great players find a way to keep themselves in the game. It doesn't always have to come in the form of points.
Hudson gets it over to Harris. Harris snags it out of the air. Take a look at it.
Najee Colin going to be called for the foul. Reaches his hand in there. Max Harris is going to go to the free throw line.
Harris at the line. Leads the team in scoring. 23 points last game. Off the rim. No good there.
I can tell you what both teams are going to practice tomorrow. Free throws.
And it's interesting you said that, Kelsey, you know, as Coach Thompson said, hey, the games we lost because of free throws.
You know, it's I don't think it's practiced as much these days and is a huge part of the game.
Henderson. Outside the arc. Drives it. Lays it in. Off the rim. Back in the hands of Wheeler as Washington brings it down. Collier slows it down. Hudson provides the screen.
Personal foul 15, Longhorns.
Aaron Smith for Kell going to be called for that foul. A little too much on the wrist on that follow-through finger roll.
Collier back at the line for Willer. Averages about 13 points per game. Number 2 point guard in the country. He's a guy that Coach Thompson definitely leads on for sure.
That's right, and Collier makes this a 2-possession ball game right now.
Henderson, of course, there with the ball handling skills. Johnson off the mark. Collier now. Guarded by Colin. Burt, as we see pressure from Kell.
And it's going to be Kell basketball. Great tie up there by Scoot Henderson to get his hands in there, tie up the ball, and possession errors in favor of Kell. There you see the replay. Great job by Henderson.
One minute and 28 seconds. 68-64. Johnson will be the inbound man for Kell. Harris on the offensive end. Of course, Henderson gets it. Henderson setting up that offense. Henderson throwing his weight around with the jumper off the mark. Back to Willard.
Najee Colin going to be called for the trip. He's going to send A.J. Burke to the line.
And Burke falls to the deck. And he'll walk that hard fall off. 1 minute and 1 second. 68-64. Overtime. Burt's at the line for Willard. Big time shooter. Comes up short there.
Burke, a 6'1" senior. Definitely a key piece to this Wheeler team.
He gets it the second time. Slowly extending. 69-64. It's Kell and Willer. It's a battle in Marietta. And Johnson gets it for three.
Sophomore coming up big time, right outside the lane. Big time shot. And a low shot, right? As a sophomore, he's going to learn to develop, but that's a shot that starts low by his knees and then comes up. I'm surprised that the defense doesn't block more of those shots.
67-69, 49.5 seconds. Coach, what are we doing?
That's a really good question. That's why they get paid the big bucks, right? You know, Kell's down by 2 right now. I believe we had a foul, so we're going to go shoot some free throws. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Free throws have been the name of the game towards the end of this ball game, right? So who can knock down some free throws? Who can protect the ball? You know, if you're Wheeler, meet every pass. Don't try to do any lob passes that can get intercepted and deflected out of bounds or in transition the opposite way.
You know, Coach Thompson talked about he wanting everyone to share the ball. Can we say they've done that tonight?
100%. And it's actually going to be Wheeler's ball on the inline. They can run the inline there. Kell decides not to take a quick foul.
Collier gets it over to Burt. 38 seconds here. Burt goes back to the line.
Personal foul number 24.
The wrong person that you want to go to the line because he normally makes those shots.
Yeah, you know what was interesting to me, though, is that Kell decided not to take a quick foul. However, I didn't see anything from them defensively that showed me that they were trying to trap or get a deflection either. So they let several crucial seconds go off the clock here.
Burt can't get the second one, in and out. Kell has it on the offensive end. Henderson pitches it to Smith.
Caleb Washington going to be called for that foul again. Scoot Henderson's going to go to the line for double bonus. And you can just see, I mean, we talked about Caleb Washington, stellar athlete, good reach, but you can see the pressure that Scoot Henderson puts on defenders with his athleticism and ability to get to the basket.
That's a great look at Scoot Henderson, one of the best in the country.
Substitutions. Number 5.
As he slowly but patiently waits. And he gets the second one. Willer on the offensive end. And we get a call here with 21 seconds.
Personal foul number 24, Longhorns.
2-point game here.
Well, and A.J. Burke has to come up big, right? You know, he's missed a couple of these free throws here that could put it into 3-possession, 2-possession ball games. That's a big shot right there. Still a 1-possession ball game right now.
71-68. 21 seconds remain here in overtime. He gets the second. It's a 4-point game.
And that is a silly, silly foul by Max Harris. In the open floor, fouling Scoot Henderson. I know he didn't mean to do that, but you stop the clock and give the man a chance to go back to the free throw line. You know, my expectations for Max as a senior, you've got to be smarter than that.
You almost never mean to do it, right?
Right.
As Gooch Henderson just basically like going in there and taking candy from a baby.
Yeah, that's about right.
It's a 2-point game. 19 seconds. Willer and Kell in Willer Arena. And the ball will go back to Willer here.
And that's the piece to me, Mari, that I'm not really understanding from Kell right now is they're not taking immediate fouls. However, they're not aggressively trying to get something out of it before they foul. So they're not double teaming. They're not running and jumping. They're basically playing still man-to-man, one-on-one.
Isaiah Collier. His second time to the line in the overtime period. And he gets both of them. Extending it again by 4. Scooch Henderson back on the offensive end, trying to do work inside the 10-second mark. He'll take the 3 off the front rim and into the hands of Maxwell Harris with 5 seconds remain, and I think that pretty much does it.
Yeah, I think that's what the crowd feels too, as an abundance of fans are exiting stage left here. I'll be honest, Scoot Henderson deserves whatever shot you're taking at the end of the game. However, I still feel like you should have got a 2-for-1. If you've watched this game, Scoot Henderson has not made one outside shot. So to pull up for a 3-point shot still in a 2-possession ball game, I feel you go to the basket and he's strong enough to finish with contact to get the 3 points the old school way.
74-7. Boy, did that happen fast. The fans fouled out of here fast. 5 seconds. Harris at the line, no good there. Inside the 3-second mark. Henderson with the 3. And he gets it, but not enough to win it, nor is it enough to take it to the second overtime period, but that pretty much does it, Kelsey. Wheeler and Kell here. What a fantastic game we watched tonight.
Hey, people got their money's worth for this game right here. I said don't count Wheeler out, and they made every effort to come back and win by 1. What a great effort by this team. Kudos to both teams. They played a fantastic game.
That does it on SUVtv. Kelsey Regis, Maury Bland here alongside Miss Lisa Burnett. Thank you so much for joining us on SUVtv. We'll see you next time.